Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Keith Pascal, UCMDB Worldwide Support Lead. Today we're going to talk about implementing policies. So, policy creation, how do I do this? Well, there's a whole flow to it. You can either view a query in the CMS UI. You could create a query in the legacy UI, that being the UCMDB local client. Or you could create a query in the CMS UI. Any way that you get a view is the right way to start the policy creation flow. From here, you apply the policy and then add the widget to the CMS UI. Let's take a look at creating a query in the CMS UI. And we have a class on this. So please look in the Micro Focus support channel and you'll see a class for creating TQLs and creating good TQLs. But this is one way to do it. You could go into the query designer, go to the URL that's listed there for the CMS UI, then click on Modules, Modeling, Query Designer, and then either create a report with a policy in mind. That's probably the most difficult flow. Or you can just create a view and use an existing policy, or you could open up a view and apply a policy to it from this flow. Now, if I have a view that's already existing, another way that I can do this is to go into the CMS UI, go under Resource Manager, click on the view, and then click on that little menu icon, that being this small little menu under Keith Windows, and go ahead and click Execute. A third way to look at this is if I'm looking at a view in a map, I can click the ellipses icon, then I can select the policy icon, and then choose the appropriate baseline or topology policies. Remember that you can only apply one topology policy or 4 baseline policies, and then click Apply. And then save the compliance report with a name. If I want to create a policy itself, once again, I'm going to go to the CMS UI homepage, click the Modules, Modeling Query Designer, then I'm going to click on Create a Policy. That's where you'll create a view. That view will then have some kind of conditions on it, and you save it as a policy. Policy requirements. Well, remember we have 2 different types of policies from the last module. There's baseline. Baseline is single CI. You can do restrictions based on attributes, or you have topology policies, which are multiple CIs. You can have restrictions based on attributes or cardinality. Let's look at a baseline policy. So here we have a baseline policy. It has a single CI. In this particular case, it only has a single condition, but you can have as many conditions as you like that fulfill a policy. For example, you could say, I need computers with greater than or equal to 16384, which is 16 gigs of memory. And that's the picture that's shown, is a condition with memory size greater than or equal to 16 gigabytes. You may want to think about having the baseline policies to be fairly simple. For example, this one here has memory of more than 16 gigabytes, but perhaps you also want to ensure that the operating system is fairly new. That could be a separate policy, and then you could apply both policies to the same view to get a single pane of glass that you're looking at. Another example, computers with greater than or equal to 4,096 megabytes of memory and not Windows 2008. All your production Windows servers must be Windows 2019. Maybe you want to additionally apply the first policy to that as well. It needs to have 16 gigabytes of memory. And that would be an example of combining the two baseline policies. For a topology policy, you can have multiple CIs, and you can put as many conditions as you want to that fulfill the policy. In the example on the right, we're showing a computer with memory greater than or equal to 16,384 and IP addresses at least 2. The cardinality is 2 to many. That's a potential for a topology policy. You can also put as many conditions on the cardinality to ensure that that policy is fulfilled. If you want web servers that have more than 16 gigabytes of memory and more than 2 IP addresses, that's kind of what's being shown on the right. Or database computers must have more than 50% free disk space. Those are good examples of topology policies. As we continue in the series, the next thing that we'll look at is how to debug some of these policies that we might see. Thank you and have a good day.